It was a crisp autumn morning when Baby Bunny's mother told him about the special library in their meadow, a place filled with stories from every corner of the world. "Today's the day, Baby Bunny," she said with a gentle smile, brushing a bit of dust off his little nose. "We're going to the library for the first time." Baby Bunny's eyes sparkled with excitement. He had heard tales of the library from his friends, but he had never seen it himself. As he hopped alongside his mother, he imagined rows upon rows of books, each filled with stories and mysteries waiting to be uncovered. When they finally arrived, Baby Bunny gasped. The library was enormous. It was a grand oak tree, older than any other in the meadow, with branches stretching far and wide, and its trunk hollowed out to hold shelves upon shelves of books. Sunlight filtered through the tree's leaves, casting a gentle glow across the pages of open books scattered throughout. Inside, the shelves towered over him, each one packed with books of all shapes, sizes, and colors. There were books with shiny covers, worn-out books that seemed to have been read hundreds of times, and some so big Baby Bunny could barely imagine lifting them. "Wow," Baby Bunny whispered, looking around in awe. "How am I supposed to pick just one?" As he wandered the aisles, he began to feel a bit overwhelmed. Every shelf seemed to whisper, "Pick me, read me." Baby Bunny tried to reach for a book about pirates, then one about ancient castles, then another about magical spells, but he couldn't decide which one he wanted to read first. He didn't want to miss out on any of the adventures hiding inside those covers. Suddenly, a small book on the bottom shelf caught his eye. It had a simple brown cover with a small gold emblem shaped like a star. Unlike the other books, it looked as if it were glowing ever so slightly, as if it held a secret just for him. Drawn to the little book, Baby Bunny carefully pulled it off the shelf. As soon as he opened the cover, something magical happened. A soft wind began to blow from the pages, swirling around him, lifting his ears, and pulling him closer. Before he knew it, Baby Bunny was no longer standing in the library. He was in the middle of a beautiful meadow under a vast blue sky. Looking around in wonder, Baby Bunny realized that he was no longer himself, just a little bunny in the library. He was a brave explorer, dressed in a tiny vest and hat, with a map tucked under his arm. "Wow," he breathed, looking down at the map that had appeared out of nowhere. "Where am I?" Just as he was beginning to figure it out, he heard a loud roar in the distance. Turning around, he saw a magnificent dragon, its scales shimmering in the sunlight, flying towards him. At first, Baby Bunny was frightened, but when the dragon landed next to him, he realized it was friendly, its eyes sparkling with kindness. "Hello, young explorer," the dragon said with a warm chuckle. "Are you ready for an adventure?" Baby Bunny nodded eagerly, and before he knew it, he was flying through the clouds on the dragon's back, soaring over magical lands filled with castles, forests, and sparkling rivers. They flew over mountains, through enchanted forests where fairies danced on tree branches, and past oceans with mysterious islands dotting the horizon. As they swooped down toward one of these islands, Baby Bunny noticed it was covered in mysterious, ancient ruins. The dragon landed gently, letting him explore. Baby Bunny walked through the ruins, his heart racing as he discovered strange symbols carved into the stone walls and plants that glowed in vibrant colors. Just as he reached out to touch one of the glowing plants, there was a flash of light, and suddenly, he found himself in another place entirely, a bustling marketplace filled with creatures he had never seen before. Foxes in fancy hats, squirrels selling shiny trinkets, and owls hooting out special prices on books and potions. Come one, come all. Step right up and try the finest candies and enchanted trinkets, called a cheerful raccoon in a striped vest, waving a sparkly cane. Baby Bunny's eyes widened as he wandered through the market, tasting strange fruits and watching magic tricks that made objects float and shimmer. He was having so much fun, he nearly forgot he was still in the library. But as he continued to explore the market, he noticed the pages of the book he had been holding glowing softly, as if calling him back. When he turned to the next page, he found himself whisked away again, this time into the middle of a grand palace. He was dressed in royal attire, with a small crown on his head and a cape trailing behind him. Baby Bunny gasped, realizing he was now a young prince, standing in a grand hall filled with sparkling chandeliers and golden walls. "Welcome, Your Highness," announced a tall, elegant peacock, bowing as he opened the grand palace doors for him. Baby Bunny couldn't believe his eyes. It was the kind of place he'd only heard about in stories. He was led into a banquet hall where tables were piled high with delicious treats and where musicians played soft, magical tunes. Feeling brave, Baby Bunny took his seat and enjoyed a feast fit for royalty, surrounded by all kinds of creatures. He laughed, cheered, and even tried his hand at dancing with a graceful fox who twirled him across the floor. When the music faded, Baby Bunny turned to another page in the book, and in the blink of an eye, he found himself on the deck of a pirate ship. The ship rocked gently with the waves as he looked around, realizing he was now a daring pirate captain with a small spyglass in hand. "Ahoy there, Captain Bunny," called a crew of friendly mice, lifting their tiny swords in salute. Baby Bunny smiled and lifted his spyglass too. His eye, spotting a distant island with a large red X marked on the sandy shore. With a mighty cheer, he led his crew in search of treasure, their ship sailing through sparkling blue waters as seagulls soared above. Page after page, Baby Bunny found himself journeying through countless lands, each more magical than the last. He walked through enchanted forests, climbed snowy mountains, and even rode a magical carpet over fields of glittering flowers. Each world was more wonderful and whimsical than he had ever imagined, and every page held a new surprise. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of adventure, Baby Bunny found himself back in the library, standing in the exact same spot where he had first opened the book. His heart was racing, his head filled with stories, and his imagination buzzing with excitement. The library was as quiet as when he had left, but something inside him had changed. I went on so many adventures," he whispered to himself, looking around in wonder. He clutched the book to his chest, feeling a deep warmth spread through him. Books were magical, he realized. Each one was a doorway to a different world, filled with stories waiting to be explored. The library wasn't just a building filled with paper and words, it was a treasure trove of experiences, each book holding a universe all its own. Baby Bunny couldn't wait to tell his friends about his discovery. As he hopped out of the library, he felt like he had 1,000 stories to share. That evening, he gathered Tano, Kavi, Spike, and all his other friends and began to recount his amazing adventure in the magical book. "I met a friendly dragon who took me flying over enchanted forests," he said, his eyes wide with excitement. "And then I became a prince in a grand palace, and even a pirate searching for treasure." His friends listened, captivated by every word. By the time Baby Bunny had finished, they were all leaning forward, their eyes bright with wonder and curiosity. Can we go to the library too? Cavi asked, barely able to contain his excitement. Of course, Baby Bunny replied, grinning. There are enough stories for everyone. Books are like magic. Once you open one, you can go anywhere and be anyone you want. The next day, Baby Bunny and his friends made their way to the library together. As they explored the rows of books, each of them found a story that spoke to them, a world they could dive into and call their own. Baby Bunny watched as his friends' faces lit up, each of them discovering the joy of reading and the endless possibilities it offered. That day, Baby Bunny learned something he would never forget. Books were a gift meant to be shared. With every story, he could explore new worlds and make memories, but the best part was sharing those journeys with his friends, inspiring them to discover their own magical adventures. As the sun set and the library grew quiet, Baby Bunny and his friends promised to return again and again, to read, to explore, and to let their imaginations soar. They had all learned a wonderful lesson, that reading could take them anywhere, turning even the most ordinary days into journeys of discovery. And from that day on, the library became their favorite place, a magical haven where they could go on adventures anytime they wanted, simply by opening a book.